Good morning, guys. Welcome back to Poorboys Little Homestead. As always, if this is your first time here, thanks for dropping in. Feel free to drop in anytime you feel, my friend. Guys, today is time for me to change my first oil change, which is 20-hour oil change service, which my little deal here is saying 21.4 hours, so I went over by 1 yard. But we're going to be changing the oil filter and showing y'all how to change it on this Spartan SRT-HD zero mower. I'll get that out here in a minute. And this mower here got the Vanguard big block 37 horsepower EFI engine. What we're going to need to change the oil, of course, is the oil. And I'm going with the Vanguard 15W-50 oil. That's what they recommend. And down here in the south, as hot as it gets in the summer and this mower runs all day, it needs a good oil. You got your oil filter. This here is the Briggs & Stratton's. And by the way, guys, I'll put in the description below this video where you can purchase this here oil filters from. But if you live right here in Oak Grove, Louisiana, you run right up there to the Tiger Stock where they sell these mowers, and go in there and tell Mr. Mowers Papaw sent you, and you need some of that good oil and some of them oil filters for your lawnmower. And if you ain't got one of these lawnmowers, you might want to check these Spartans out while you're there. But back to our oil change, we're going to be changing the oil. We're going to need an oil filter wrench. And I'm going to use a ratchet and an 18mm wrench, and you'll see why. This engine, they got a hose run, which makes it convenient for your oil to drain out. And it's actually got a cap on it, so you're going to need one wrench to hold back up while you remove the cap, instead of having a plug in the engine like a lot of mowers do. This here keeps you from making a mess, what it does, or helps keep from making a mess, let me put it like that. So let's get back here and let's drain the oil. But the first thing you want to do before you change the oil in any engine, including your car, you want to crank it and you want to have it at operating temperature before you change the oil in anything, guys. Don't go out there, something been setting all night long, drain the cold oil out of it. Crank it, let it get to the running temperature, kill it, and then drain your oil. Before we ever get started, I'm going to go on and raise the seat up. Because when you changing your oil, you also want to look and check your hydraulic fluid and make sure the level in it's right. Plus, it ain't really got to raise the seat up to change the oil, but I want it raised up. Now I'm going to show you guys. Right here's the dipstick on this Vanguard engine. I'm on the right side of the lawnmower here. Right here is your spin-on oil filter. Right here's your fuel plug. And they got this hose running back here. It's got a cap on it. And that's where we're going to move that cap, and that's going to drain our oil. So the reason I'm saying you may need, if that's very tight, you're going to need a backup wrench to put right here. Put your socket on there to remove that cap. But before you drain the oil, go on and loosen your fuel cap. I don't like taking it off because I don't want to drop nothing in that engine, but I loosen it. And I pull my dipstick up a little bit. That way it can suck air when you take that cap off to drain your oil. And I think I got y'all set right there where y'all can see. I'm gonna put this 18mm backup wrench right there. And I'm gonna come in from the back of the lawnmower and put my ratchet on here. And they didn't have it too tight. That's good. Now you're still gonna get some oil down here on your pretty exhaust pipe on this lawnmower. But that's all right, it'll wash off. and we draining our oil right down there in our oil pan. While our oil's draining, I'm gonna try to give y'all an overhead view of me reaching right under here with this pair of oil filter wrench pliers. And removing the oil filter. And it seems like everything I go to change the oil on lately, they have the oil filters put on entirely too tight. That oil filter is entirely too tight, guys. When you put an oil filter on, you run it up till it touches, and then you go a quarter to a half a turn. I like to say no tighter than you can put it on with one hand. So we're removing our oil filter. And guys, when you remove an oil filter, make dadgum sure this O-ring comes off with the filter and don't get stuck on your engine. Take your rag and you wipe right in there where that oil filter come off from, double checking that that O-ring didn't stay on there. You get your new filter, you get you a little bit of your old oil on your finger and rub on that O-ring. And you do this, any cartridge style oil filter or fuel filter you put on, if it's a fuel filter, use a little bit of the diesel fuel. But always put you a little bit of oil around that O-ring. Don't just screw that on there. And when you screw it on there like I see, you see me screwing that on there? Now it's just touched. Now you shouldn't go but about a quarter to a half a turn. And that's about as tight as the average man's gonna do that with one hand. Don't put both hands on it and do not put a wrench on it. That is tight enough. Now guys, that's how easy it is. But our oil is still draining right there. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna show you how you check your air filter and you clean it. Now my air filter, every day after a long day of mowing, I take my air filter out of this and I show you how I blow it out. But right here is the air filter on this Vanguard. This is 37 horsepower commercial engine. And just about any commercial engine is gonna have a big air filter sitting up on back like this. You just flip them two clips, pull that little plastic cover off and pull your air filter out. But if a man, he mows all day long, just like yesterday I put in 8 hours of mowing. Actually about 5 of the lawnmower running. When I got home and I took my leaf blower to blow the grass off my deck and stuff, I pull this filter out and I stick my leaf blower right here to blow this dust out. Now you may not want to do it that often, but I would suggest if you run your lawnmower a lot, do it once a week. Don't just do this at an oil change. Also, it has the second filter inside this one that you can clean, and you do the same thing. But I just blew this out yesterday. Like I said, I just used my leaf blower that I towed around blowing leaves and driveways and grass off the sidewalks and such. Hold the end right up in there and blow it out real good. If you do that, you'll get a lot more life out of your engine. But that's where the dirt comes in to get into your oil, guys. I know there's a lot of people that's not mechanically inclined and may not know that. But that's what your air filter's doing. The engine has to have air to suck in to make the engine run, make the fuel combust, and I ain't going that in depth with you, but just to give you an idea, that air filter is what keeps the dust out of your engine, keeps it out of your oil. So if you'll keep that air filter blowed out on a regular basis, like I said, as dusty as it is in these yards I'm mowing, 'cause I'm mowing some yards where there's a lot of trees, it's so dusty. Every day when I get done, when I blow my deck off of my blower, I blow my air filter out. Our oil's still dribbling out down there, and I like to get it plenty of time. But another thing you want to do, especially, you want to do it on your 20-hour service on any new lawnmower. Some may recommend 10 hours for the first oil, some may recommend 20, whatever they recommend. But you need to grease all your grease zerks. I call alamites. Every time I put a video up and say alamites, I have somebody that comment, what's an alamite? Well, it's just a grease zerk. And on this lawnmower, I'm gonna walk around and show you. On this zero turn right here, you got a grease zerk on your 4 scout wheels here. There they are. And you got 2 of these scout wheels. They ain't scout wheels. They're actually wheelie wheels back on the back in case you up in the hills mowing and it rears up. So you got 2 there. So that makes 6. You got 2 right here on your deck lift, 1 on each side. Right there. And right there. And the only other 2 you got is right back yonder where my finger's pointing on your idler, your deck belt idler. Then you got 1 under the engine back there on the back on your drive belt idler. That's the only ones on this lawnmower. Now, I really don't like that. I wished it had a grease zerk right here. I wished it had one down here for each front tire. And I wished it had one on each blade where the bearings is in your blade spindles. There's very few lawnmowers I could find on the market that still has grease zerks in the spindles for your blades. Matter of fact, I didn't find but one when I was researching lawnmowers that still had grease zerks in their spindles. So you want to grease your lawnmower. Like I said, now this one recommends changing oil after the first oil change every 100 hours. You want to check your transmission hydraulic fluid. And then mine's got a mark right there, and you can see it's still good. Now the Parker transmission in this one, they don't recommend changing that, according to what I read in that book, for 1,000 hours. Well, they may be that sure about their stuff, but I'm gonna change mine probably about 500 hours. I change mine. And then I might go 1,000 hours the second time, but I'm one that believes in keeping fluids changed, keeping them clean. And there's your fuel filter. Now I ain't changing the fuel filter on no 20 hours, because I know I've been putting clean fuel in it and ain't got no trash. But probably every 100 hours I change that fuel filter, just to keep me from having any troubles. Alright guys, it looked like the oil's through dribbling. I wiped off as much oil in there where it come out when I removed the oil filter. We're going to put the little oil cap back on. I like this hose they put on this too. That's like a hydraulic hose. It ain't just no cheap piece of rubber hose on there. When you putting these caps back on there, guys, you ain't got to go crazy tightening them. You just run it up there till it gets bottom out and just give it a good little snug there, and that's it. It ain't going nowhere. Them caps there is made to stay on there. It ain't gonna vibrate off on you or nothing like that. So you ain't gotta get down and tighten it up so next time you need to drain your oil, you can't get it off. Guess I might need to let that sit under there in case I spill some. Nah, I ain't gonna spill none. We're gonna go over here and get our funnel stick in here. And like I said, from the book, it's showing 2.5 quarts. So I'm probably gonna put about 2 quarts, crank it up, let it run, and then we'll see what she needs after that. I like how everything's placed on this engine. It's easy to get to. Make sure you ain't got no dirt or nothing in your funnel. No grass. This would be easier if I had quarts, but since this thing holds 2.5 quarts, I bought a jug and then another quart. And got me 2 oil filters while I was picking this up. This is what Vanguard recommends, but they got other oils they recommend on there for weights according to where your temperature and stuff is. But down here in the south where I live, it's in the 90s, 100 degrees, and running this engine hard all day. I chose to go with their 15W50. I just poured what I think's just barely over 2 quarts. We're gonna put the cap back on. I'm gonna fire it up and let it circulate a minute. And then we'll check it. That ought to be circulated long enough. Now while I'm waiting on it to drain down, I'm going to reset my oil changing reminder here. It says you press and hold down this little wrench. Button's got a little wrench beside it. I'm gonna have to go read the directions on this again, guys. I thought you just held it down until it cleared out and went to 0. There it is. I just wasn't holding it down long enough. It's got a clock on it. A job timer you can 0 out when you start mowing to see how long it takes you to mow a yard or something. I really ain't checked all that out yet to see exactly what everything it does. But I think that's, oh, it's got the attack meter where you can push the button and it shows you RPMs you're running. That's it. Hour meter maintenance schedule. The first time you get it, it's gonna pop up change oil now at 20 hours, and then when you reset it, it's gonna automatically do it for 100 hours. Well, I should have to add a little more oil in here. Well, I gotta put these glasses on to see that. That's clear. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I didn't give it 2 quarts in there, so we're gonna have to go about a ½ quart more. Now that I know, next time I won't stop so early. But I don't want to pour too much oil. Guys, overfilling the engine with oil ain't good for them neither. Guys, y'all seen when I was showing y'all them grease zerks, I'd already greased mine. I didn't even wait to 10 hours. I learned a long time ago, when you buy something brand new, even just say a trailer, a utility trailer, best thing you can do when you get home is jack it up and make sure there's grease in them bearings and grease it. It just seems like anything that's brand new, they don't never put no grease in it. They expect you to do it on the first maintenance schedule. That's dead on full. 2.5 quarts is what it held. So after I mowed about the first hour with it, and then when I was under there checking everything out, learning where stuff was, that's when I went on and greased mine. So now it'll get greased at every 100 hours when I do my oil change. But that's how simple it is to change it. Ain't nothing to it. And if you follow my advice and keep them air filters blowed out, and I'm talking about just like I said, I mowed the other day, that's about a good 6 hours running, but it's in real dusty yards. That evening when I get home and I blow all my deck and grass off the deck, you don't want to let grass build up around your pulleys and belts and all that. That can cause you problems. Get grass built up under there, it gets wet, holds moisture, gets your deck to rusting, but all that up under there around your belt. See, if it's grass got a stick in it or something, it can get in your belts and nick your belts or anything. So I keep my deck blowed off and I keep my air filter blowed out. And that's almost every day after a good day of mowing. But guys, I really like this lawnmower. Like I said, that's 21 hours on it. And I like it. Now, if I could just have exactly what I wanted, I'd want them grease zerks put up there in the front wheels and in my spindles so I could keep my bearings in my spindles greased, and that'd make them last longer. Also, another thing I ain't that big of a fan on, and it ain't nothing wrong with it, I just don't like new technology, is this little control panel here, key start. It ain't got that key. I'd rather have a key, the old-fashioned key myself, instead of all this stuff you punch your code in. You can set a code on here where you don't have a key, so you set a code what you want your code, and you get on it, you have to punch your code in, and then hit the button to start it. And see, I ain't no big fan of that kind of stuff. But other than that, I really like the lawnmower. If you're interested in lawnmowers or in search of lawnmowers, you ought to go check out the Spartans. If you live around Oak Grove, Louisiana, stop by the Tiger Stock. Mr. Morris sells them up there. If you ain't around Oak Grove, Louisiana, punch it in on your computer or phone there and see where your local dealer is, and check them out on the website. I actually came across this one and I wasn't even looking for the Spartan. I was just looking at different lawnmowers trying to make my mind up when I come across this Spartan. You know, after I seen it made me, I just changed my mind from what I had my mind set up on. And guys, I forgot to mention, if you're interested, I got a video on this lawnmower here when I purchased it, going over all the bells and whistles and everything about it and why I purchased it. I'll attach this video above or at the end of this video if you would like to go back and watch it. I think it might help you make your mind up on purchasing a lawnmower, or give you some ideas what to look for when you purchasing a lawnmower. But guys, if you like these little videos and you haven't never subscribed to my channel, please reach down there and hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Don't cost you a thing. You get notifications when I post videos. If it ain't a video you interested in, by no means watch it. But you never know, maybe something else you want to watch. Also, if you know anybody that's your friends and loved ones that likes watching videos, give me a thumbs up on the video you like and share it with your friends. And as always, I hope y'all have a blessed day. God bless. See y'all next time.